gonna first do a quick recap last week where we left off, and then dive into some new stuff from the same position. So back in dorsal. All right, so we left off last week talking about various grip breaks from this position. So main thing about this is reading where is their grip? Like read the guy, read the man. So depending on where he is, like right now, Hudson is hiding his hand in his. Sometimes they'll grab their shorts. They'll just kind of lace the inside of their hamstrings, kind of try to hide the hand from you, and almost kind of self frame where they can even kind of use their leg to deny access or to kind of try to fight the battle as you're reaching for their hand, or as you're reaching in here, they can kind of reinforce, with their leg. This is also like applicable in the gi, maybe even more so because people will grab the gi pants. Like I know we're not at gi school, but like this, I think when we first like went through the system like years ago, we were still at gi school and it was really effective in the gi. Because things reach down there and grab fabric, and that's way harder to deal with. So if he's down here, remember we can't grab 1, 2, or 3 fingers in jiu-jitsu, but we can grab 4. Okay, you can't grab less than 4. You can do whatever you want in a fight, but just you're gonna get DQ'd, and you're probably not gonna make many friends in here. Unless you have me, because I'm really forgiving, Pastor. But no, if you wanna grab fingers, that's totally cool. But you gotta grab 4. All right, and so also when he's got a grip however he wants, our grip strength gets really really weak as we fold fingers in on each other like a tortilla, like a taco shell. We taco the knuckles, right? So I'm really strong out here, right? But as my knuckles get caved in, my ability to really clench my fist becomes really, really impaired, right? And that's all we're doing here is I'm reaching through, I'm grabbing the outside of the index finger knuckle, the outside of the pinky knuckles, and I'm making the fingers cave in, okay? So I'm grabbing in here. I'm going to get a good grip, right? Yeah, get a good grip. Don't let me get it. Okay, right here, I'm going to cave in the knuckles, and then I'm going to pull out at an angle so that now I'm just fighting the shoulder, right? If I'm here, I'm still fighting kind of, he's a little bit reinforced by his own body weight, his lats, his whole arm is in the way. Pulling at an angle makes the battle more against his rotator cuff. From here, I pummel my hand to the inside and find the wrist. Okay, one more time. Let's rotate just a little bit so I can see this. Okay, so if he's here, I'm gonna reach up, grab the outside knuckles, and I'm trying to make them fold in like a taco shell. Fold in and pull out. Okay, and from here, I'm keeping this grip and rolling my wrist inward so that I can get wrist to wrist with him in this transition. Once I'm wrist to wrist, it's pretty well secure. I'm gonna get it. Okay, because again, I don't really need like my thumb. I'm not really for a Kimura grip, not really trying to grab with my thumb. It's thumbless anyway. So really, as soon as I get to here and I roll my wrist inward, get wrist to wrist, suicide zone to suicide zone, right there, I'm good. Okay. From here, that's one. The other one, if he's got his hands really tight, if I've got daylight here between his torso, his trunk, and his elbow, if I can wedge my knee in here, this is probably the best, right? Because he can grip all he wants, but I can actually drive with my shin into the bicep. I can use my whole posture to break this. I can also post out with my leg if I need to. And if he's just incredibly strong, I can use both legs to get this broken. I also like this because it does expose what we're going to cover later tonight. This armpit exposure is going to open up some triangle territory for us, which is beautiful. All right, if he's closed off here, but he's really tight here, that's where we're going to come through, swim under, grab the hip socket right here on the bone itself with the meat of my hand, the outside meat of my hand, and I'm just taking my elbow towards the ceiling like this. Okay, from here, I don't want him to collect it back. So as he fights to collect it back, I want to find that wrist, not let him get it back. So those are the 3 main ones. And then we covered if you just cannot get this guy's grip broken, he's just a freight train. You just can't get it. If he's super tight, he's insistent on keeping the grip, then we can always just simply come over the top. And even if he keeps his hand in front, normally we're going to finish Kimuras with hand behind the back. But if he keeps it on top, we can still finish this guy right here. by taking our foot kind of this way. Okay, just kind of, it's still a Kimura, we're just using our leg. All right, it's called a Tarika Plata. I don't honestly hunt those much, but it's something you can do. Hudson probably knows more about that stuff than me.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah. So let's run those real quick. All right, just a recap. Does anybody need to see any of them again? Cool. Yep. Easy. Okay, cool. All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's run all 3 of them. I want to see sitting on his head.
Right.
Yeah, like it takes his ability to really start bridging effectively, like completely away. I mean, there are times where like you might transition, but just as a default, like especially in a relive role, you can be really unnice about this. Like, be really, really mean about this. And like when you just plop the weight down, the head goes. Like,
Yeah.
It's really hard to move.
Gotcha. Bring it to the other side. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And then there.
Yeah.
Keep a little weight on.
See, now also, this is what makes this grip so effective is because you're on his head. His head can't follow as you start lifting. His head gets stuck, runs into your butt.
Yeah, and you're kind of sitting into my hand as well. Like that. Yeah, and just keep going. Just keep going.
All right, he's in tight. If I come through, swim, yeah, right there to that bone, not too deep and not out here. Right there to that, just sliding it back. And then here, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna keep this chest to chest contact, because I'm still gonna use my body. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just maintain right here the whole time. I'm not having to squeeze a whole lot. It's more my body breaking the grip. I'm just using the angle to create, or the elbow to create an angle. I'm still driving actually off of my legs a little bit. Like my whole body's involved here, if that makes sense. I'm not doing this. See how my body barely moves? No, my body moves. That's Kimura.
Yeah.
That makes sense. To side triangle territory now, which is very much related because if we're in dorsal, if I'm in dorsal and I manage to ever get my heel to the inside of the armpit here, this is where I can start entering side triangle territory. Okay, just heel to the armpit. Because look at this position. If I just forget dorsal for a second, what's our criteria for a triangle? That all triangles, like what's true of it? One arm, one in, one out, right? So I've got one arm between my legs. I've got one out of my legs, right? So what's the second principle to make triangles effective? To actually get the finish.
Cut the right angle.
Yes, but what does that accomplish?
You can cut off the shoulder. Cover the shoulder.
Almost.
Head placement.
Has to do with the shoulder. Remove the shoulder.
Oh, yeah, removes the shoulder.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be overly cryptic. My bad. I was just trying to help you recall a little bit. So, one in, one out, and removing the shoulders. That's always what's going to create like optimal strangulation. All right. So here, the side triangle entry, instead of like it might look like if the head were to come to the inside, I've got the rear triangle, right? We've already been over this. The side triangle, I'm actually this is going to be the choke arm, right? And or this is going to be my strangle leg. This is going to be my support leg, right? The way we're going to attack this is actually take my bottom side leg out and behind him. Okay, so now I've got a head and an arm in between my legs. Everybody see this so far? All right. So the finish, just like any triangle, we have a trap triangle here, right? Like it's not an actual figure 4. It's just, I just trapped the head and arm, right? So much the same, we're going to set up a triangle, much the same. We'll still think of it in 2 phases, okay? Sometimes you might skip phase 1 and go straight to phase 2, okay? But like you can still conceptually think about this in 2 phases. Like as long as I have his head and arm trapped between my legs, I have a good degree of control. The actual finish here is going to come from my ability to get my knee pit to his tricep and remove my leg from his shoulder line. What I mean by that is if my leg is if my leg is really under his back here, I'm never going to finish a side triangle. Okay. My leg must be north of the shoulder line, similar to how when we ran the front triangle, I'm always talking about getting your lower leg north of the shoulder line. What's that doing? It's removing the shoulder from the choke. Okay. So as I get my support leg north of the shoulder line, now when I actually start to lock up the figure four in a second, there won't be shoulder. So
When you say north of the shoulder line, which shoulder?
so my leg, yeah. So here's his shoulder line, right? So now my leg is north. No, okay, not north like this way, north like this way,
Okay.
like in relation to his shoulder. It's behind. Let's say behind the shoulders. Like, what's
Above
there
the
might be-
shoulders?
above the shoulders, right? Yeah, I'm saying north. I don't even know which way is north. It might be that way for all I know. I don't.
I was just saying like as opposed to here.
Yeah, I don't.
North of that.
I want my leg out of the shoulders.
Okay.
Right. However, we need to say that. All right. So here, though, the finish is going to come from my ability to get my knee pit to the tricep, not to the shoulder. That's going to be a common mistake, is trying to finish him with the shoulder still in the choke. All right. We want to remove the shoulder. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go belly down here. All right. I'm going to extend both legs. And now as I start to come back to my hip, I curl in, bringing my knee pit to this tricep here. Okay. And I extend my bottom leg. This allows me to lock the figure of four. And now I'm going to curl both legs inward. That's the actual strangle, okay? So one more time. Here, let's just say we got into our position. We have a trap triangle, okay? I'm never going to choke him. If I just start trying to go here and my knee's way up here, I'm not even in the tricep. There's all kinds of things wrong. My bottom knee is touching his shoulder right now. I'm never going to get the strangle here, okay? So we have to be able to recognize when we have a good bite on the choke and when we don't, and be able to calmly adjust. Because I still have a ton of control here, right? Even as he starts trying to fight out, I still have a ton of control over his head, and I have a figure of four. And if I need to, I'll just go back to Kimura trap for a second, right? We have so much control here. If you rush this, you get stupid, then you lose like maybe one of my favorite positions, which is probably one of the best positions, because you just have from when I have the Kimura, and I have either this side triangle, Yoko Senkaku, or I can transition to the Kimura trap, like underneath him. You have so much offense you can mount from this position. It's just incredible. It's probably my favorite position to be in. All right, but from here, what we're gonna do, the actual drill, I want you to have your figure of four. We're gonna have our trap triangle. The first thing I need to do is make sure I make my adjustment. So as I shift my foot out, I'm gonna plant the ball of my bottom foot out on the mat, and I'm gonna turn my hips towards the ceiling. Okay, and I'm gonna post out my head on the mat, like so, straightening both my legs. Okay, you can reach back and grab the hand if you need to. Okay, from here, as I start to resit, this is going to cause, if my leg is under his shoulder, it's going to cause it to come out where it's out of the shoulder, behind the shoulder, whatever you want to call that, right? Under the head.
The shoulder.
What's that?
East of the shoulder.
East of the shoulder. Right? As I come back to my hip, I curl and extend the bottom leg. Okay. From here, I'm able to get my knee pit to the tricep. Okay. I don't want to be like down here on the shoulder. I want to be in the tricep, and I can lock my figure of four right there, and I curl both feet inside. And I'm bringing both. I'm curling. Once I've locked the figure of four, I'm curling both.
That's me.
Double leg curl. Does that make sense? Questions? Let's try that, and then let's just get straight into the position, and then we'll enter there from dorsal. Somebody's really popular.
That is me. I think that's me at least.
All right, questions?
So many, but.
Run it a little bit. All right, run it a little bit. This one's a little tricky at first to get, and then once you get it, it's incredibly tight. All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
All right. Here, I'm coming over the head until my heels to the armpit. Okay. I've got my figure of four. Now I'm going to kick my knee behind and have a trap. Okay.
Okay, I'm just locking it in my cap. I'm not trying to actually choke him yet. Okay. Now I need to make my adjustment. Okay, so I'm going to, you can grab the wrist or the elbow, but what I really want to focus on, I'm going to come out on the balls of my feet and turn my hips up towards the ceiling and take my head towards the mouth. Be both legs.
And that's just to get that last bit of shoulder out of there.
Yes, and it's gonna make it easier for me to get my knee fit.
Yeah,
That straighten this. It's easier to get those triceps.
yeah. I noticed it would. I don't get in this a lot often, but if I saw it coming, I would try to thread my head to the mat. So I couldn't do it because you were so tight. But it's like I see why the scissors so important right there.
Yeah, and also I'm taking my hips up, so where I kind of bring this in.
Yeah. That's what I felt. Yeah.
Now as I sit back to my hips, I'm gonna kick my this leg straight. This leg is gonna curl in here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll lock my into my knee pit. Okay, and now I'm curling both feet inside.
Close, yeah. Really try to like stand up on this.
A little bit more real quick. Chat. I can read you. Too bad I can't.
Y'all, other than, I guess we'll at least look at what it looks like. You know, if you're trying to set this up for your dorsal, all we're looking for is that exposure right here, right? If we got this exposure, if we're able to separate these grips, right? And if he makes, sometimes they'll even make the mistake of just coming under the split because they think it's going to do something like great, right? But my whole target is if I'm in dorsal and I can get my heel to his armpit, we're there. Right? All I got to do is follow my hip. Okay. So I can remember, no matter what, always control the elbow. So I'm gonna keep my chest here. I want to maintain my underhook. I can grab this elbow if I'd like. And all I have to do is follow the hip and straighten my bottom leg. Make sense? Trap triangle. Now I just need to make my adjustment. Okay. My knee pit has to be in the tricep. Okay. Right now it's way over here. It's under his armpit. Okay. So for me to make this adjustment, I make this adjustment by straightening my legs. So I'm going belly down here. Right. I'm not driving my head away from him. I just want to I want to keep all this space. I just want my hips to go up. So I'm going to stay really heavy on him and then on his head. And I'm just shifting my head down to the mat, not way back here, but just right here. I'm going belly down and taking my hips towards the ceiling and straightening my legs. I'm straightening my legs. Okay. Now I'm going to curl in to where my knee pit makes contact with his tricep as I come back down. Now I can lock and now I can squeeze. Okay. You've got to straighten your legs and you have to have the knee pit in the tricep. Still in the bicep. It's not really it's not really going to create a good amount of pressure. We want it in the tricep. We don't want it around here. That makes sense? Like I said, I didn't actually get this one the first time that Nick taught it to me, but eventually it clicked. But that's straighten the legs without your hips going away from them. Keep all the space you have, like keep all of it taken up. We're actually taking more space up by straightening our legs. I don't want my hips or my head to move away from their body at all. Cool. Any questions? Let's run it a couple more minutes and then we're gonna do a round and then we'll do whatever y'all want, but we're gonna all at least get one positional round in. Cool. All right, 1, 2, 3. The thing you have here is just
This thing's kind of.
it's good not to just show you real quick. It's too simple here. It's also a great fail safe if you're just not getting the choke. If I've done all my adjustments, all this good stuff here, I've done my adjustment, blah blah blah, and this guy's not choking. Okay, but if he's not going out, whatever, something's off. I don't know. Right, all this tight lock we have on the shoulder that we fought to get, we made our adjustment. It creates so much immobilization in the shoulder joint that we call this itchy bond. This is what we call this at Grapple, because I still have a figure 4. I have a wrist lock here. Okay.
I have the Yoko Senkaku, the side triangle. I also have a very, like, you'd be really, really gentle about this. I have a pretty tight Americana here. Here, I also have a Kimura that's very tight. It doesn't take much at all, just a few inches. Okay, I've got wrist locks down here. I can also take his back. Like we call it Ichiban, right? If you get Ichiban, you should have a high sub rate. All right, but just look, if you've made the adjustment, the shoulder joint is real. If your lock is actually on the tricep, and they're still not choking, you still created so much immobility here. It doesn't take much at all to just get a shoulder lock in either direction. Or you can wrist lock them if you want. You know, if you wrist lock you by competition, you get $200 from me. I'm just saying.
That would be insane.
Don't break the wrist, but yeah, you break the wrist,
guy.
you only get 100.
I get the wrist.